Are you ready to lead with confidence, tackle big challenges, and build a life on your own terms?
Now, welcome to Creating Waves, the podcast where we cut through the fluff and bring you real leadership strategies that transform every part of your world.
Whether you're managing a team or managing yourself, we'll show you how to step up and thrive, starting right now.
So hit that subscribe button and get ready to make waves in your career, relationships, and life.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our brand new podcast. I'm Simon, and I'm here with my partner in life, work, and all things coaching, Erlina. And we are so excited that you've tuned in today.
Hi everyone, we are really thrilled to have you here. Together, both of us, we have 45 years of combined experience in the corporate world and in the coaching world, which basically means we've seen it through it all, from boardroom battles to personal development breakthroughs.
Exactly. And our core really is we exist to really unleash potential and create meaningful impact. And that's always been our driving force, whether we were leading teams in Fortune 500 companies or working one-on-one with clients to help them unlock new avenues or growth and fulfillment.
Yeah, so on this podcast, we want to bring you the same insights and strategies that we share with our coaching clients. So really practical tools to help you find more resilience, build high-performing teams, and become a better boss, or simply to level up on your personal life. Basically, we want you to walk away from each episode feeling a little bit more empowered to become the best version of yourself.
Now, a little bit about us, so you get to know us as people. After decades in the corporate world, we realized our greatest passion was developing people, seeing that spark when someone steps into their potential. So we decided to shift gears completely and become full-time coaches and like business consultants.
And we didn't do it in a small way either. During COVID, when virtual work became normal, we made this huge move or decision to
Crazy
move.
move.
We made this crazy decision to move to Mauritius. But I mean, it was amazing. Like, hello, sun, sand, sea, and mountains. That's more than what we could ever ask for during that period as well. So now we split our time between Singapore and Mauritius, coaching individuals and businesses worldwide.
Yeah. It's been an adventure, but one we wouldn't trade for anything actually. And our lives might be split now between two different locations, but our mission is really singular to really help you, our listeners, unleash your full potential and really make meaningful impacts in whatever you really do.
And that brings us to today's topic, which is how are you going to make 2025 the year you actually stick to your goals and create real lasting change? So we'll be sharing 5 key strategies that have worked wonders for us and our clients, covering everything from aligning your goals with your values to letting go of any mental or emotional baggage, celebrating small wins, crafting a supportive environment, and using visualization to bring your dreams to life.
Yeah. And we thought we'd kind of launch this a little bit later in January as well, because I'm sure a lot of you kind of started your New Year's resolutions or new goals at the beginning of January, and some of you might be slipping a little bit. So we thought we'd not do it straight away at the beginning and do it more at the end of January. So stick around, because by the end of this episode, you'll have a roadmap to take charge of your 2025 goals in practical and meaningful ways, I would say.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and kick it off, all right? So we're beyond grateful that you're here with us. So wherever you are in the world you might be, let's dive into our first strategy, Simon.
Yeah. So there's going to be 5 strategies that we're going to explore. Okay. One is aligning your goals with your values. Number 2 is going to be letting go of baggage. Number 3 is going to be celebrating the small wins. Number 4 is going to be crafting a supportive environment. And number 5 is going to be practicing visualizations and manifesting, which we'll talk about why these work, how we've applied them, and at the end we're going to wrap it up with a kind of a quick recap to tie it all together for you. Okay.
So are we ready? I'm really excited. So let's jump into the first one.
All right. Okay. Aligning your goals with your values. This is huge. if your goals aren't connected to what you genuinely care about, they're going to crumble. Okay. That's what happened to us a while back when we both decided we were going to become, here we go, marathon runners.
Well, let's just say it did not go as planned. I mean, it was one of my goals for a long time. We kept telling ourselves it'd be so cool to say that, hey, we ran a marathon. But actually, neither of us actually love or enjoyed long distance running, right? We had this image of crossing the finishing line together. I mean, it's so romantic, right? As a couple to do that.
Right. But the reality was that after I think a few weeks of training, we just dreaded those long runs. We were okay in the short ones. And we kind of kept whining, why are we doing this again? Which is kind of telling, right? Because our core values really weren't let's run a marathon. Actually our values were what we wanted to do was we wanted to become more fit. We wanted to start feeling stronger and also doing something together.
Mm-mm-mm. So eventually, we obviously did let that marathon dream go. But actually, what came up in the process of that is while we were training for the marathon, we discovered something else, and that was CrossFit. And surprisingly, we discovered that we both loved it. We realized that it aligned with some of our shared values of wanting variety, our community, pushing ourselves in a supportive environment. And it brought us closer as well because we shared that excitement rather than dreading something that we felt like we had to do.
Exactly. So to take it from us, when you link a goal to something that you really value, you don't have to kind of drag yourself to do it. You're actually drawn to it. If your value is creativity, find a creative outlet that you kind of love. And if it's family, maybe your goal revolves around more family time. But it's all about making it purposeful and personal and meaningful. And 2025 will be so much more satisfying if you can do that.
Mm-mm-mm. So everyone who's listening right now, think about what is it that you truly value. You could just pause the podcast right now, and think about actually what do you really care about? Is it health, connection, adventure, or personal growth? So once you know what that value is, you can start to align your goals to it, and then it becomes a more natural source of motivation that is doesn't feel so forced.
No, totally, totally. So let's move on to strategy number two, okay? And this is letting go of baggage. And I'm not talking about the spare storage unit you've been paying for, but and actually you probably never really used or sorted. We mean anything that's lingering in your life without adding real value or joy to it.
So think about it, right? There are always things that we have always been doing, but we never question it. So maybe it's something like an old hobby that you've had for a long time, but you don't actually enjoy it anymore, but you keep doing it because you used to love it. Or maybe you have certain social groups or friend groups that you no longer feel aligned to, or you just stop feeling like they've been supportive a long time ago, but you never took any action.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And also, kind of letting go can also mean freeing yourself from like past regrets, right? Like wishing you'd pursued that degree or taken that dream trip years ago to a certain place that you've always wanted to go. Carrying these kind of missed opportunities around can really start to weigh you down, really more than I think we realize, actually.
This is the key, right? When we
Mm.
continuously cling on to commitments or beliefs that no longer serve you, you kind of block yourself from exploring new opportunities. It's like your schedule and your mind are so packed that there's no room actually for fresh opportunities, ideas, relationships, and growth in general.
I think that's why we talk to a lot of our clients about this, but actually letting go, as uncomfortable as it can actually be, is
Mm.
it's such a powerful move. as well, whether it's I don't know, dropping a volunteer role you've outgrown, or cleaning out your clutter in the closet, something, something so small, or learning to forgive yourself of for past mistakes. Once you kind of let go, you start to free up energy for really what truly matters.
Mm-mm. And this new space that you have is incredible. And you can imagine that filling up with anything, anything that you want, from actually finally launching that side hustle that you've been thinking about, picking up something new that actually generally gives you excitement, or connecting more deeply with the friends and family that you have. There's a huge sense of relief and possibility that comes when we release what's probably a little bit stale and old in our lives.
Mm-mm. So if you're feeling kind of stretched thin, or you're stuck in an old routine, ask yourself this, right? What am I dragging around that I really don't need? And it could be physical stuff, it could be emotional guilt, or outdated obligations, or old ways of thinking. But once you let it go, you'll be amazed at how much lighter, more open to new paths you're going to start to feel.
Yeah. So sometimes we always think of it as decluttering your life, right? It's a very Marie Kondo thing to talk to do, but it's actually it's more about making room for the kind of growth and success that you truly want, right? In 2025 and beyond. So it is a step that can transform your outlook and actually like free you up to move forward with less baggage, with lightness and with confidence.
Okay, okay, we're going to move on. Let's shake that off. A little bit of feelings
I
there
know.
of letting go of
Yeah,
some
yeah. A
baggage.
little bit of
So
heaviness there.
yeah, okay. Let's push this up again, right? Okay. So now we're going to talk about celebrating small wins. And this one might sound a little bit silly, right? But it's a huge, big deal. If you only celebrate the big moments, right, you're missing out on a whole wave of motivation that comes from acknowledging little steps forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm guilty of that sometimes. And when I
Mm-mm.
when I think about, when we first started CrossFit, so since we talked about it earlier,
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
at first we were so intimidated, right? We kept on comparing ourselves to all these seasoned athletes who were really throwing huge weights around. I mean, it was intimidating, and but then we realized, or actually the people at the box actually encouraged us to just celebrate the mini milestones, like the small improvements that we make. Everyone's on our own journey. Like, hey, for us, I mean, for our lifestyle, making it to the gym 3 times a week is wow, this is a win. Or I mean, for us, because we're just starting out on this journey. So when we improve, our form on a front squat or a snatch, I mean, this is actually the small wins that when we start focusing on them, it feels more empowering.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to become, obviously, a pro CrossFitter, but those
Maybe,
small
maybe in
little
the masters category, Simon.
maybe no, not even with that. I don't think. But my pull-ups are terrible. But those little victories, I think, kept us excited, and we saw, real tangible proof that we were progressing. So even if you just, for me, I just added like 5 pounds to a lift, or shaving just a few seconds off our workout times, you could see the difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we talk a lot about fitness, right? But because that's something that we were focusing on a lot last year, but this could apply to any goal. So maybe, you always wanted to write your own book. So celebrate, like writing that first paragraph. Or you want to actually be better at being at cooking. So celebrate that you've tried a new healthy recipe. So celebrate those moments. Even if it's just like doing goofy, really goofy high fives around the house, it just keeps the energy really positive.
But the best thing with this is that actually there's a science behind it too. So small wins release dopamine, which means you want to keep going. So if you're making 2025, right, your year to get organized, celebrate tackling a small drawer instead of waiting until your entire house is spotless, for example.
Yeah, yeah. I think that too many of us, we have this all or nothing kind of mentality,
Mm.
but actually it's the small wins that build momentum. And momentum is what's going to carry you through the year. And that's going to be far more effective than relying on like sheer willpower alone.
No, 100%, 100%. Okay, let's move on to crafting a supportive environment. Because honestly, this might be one of the most overlooked parts of actually sticking to any goal. And it's not just about motivating yourself or motivation or willpower, it's about setting yourself up for success through the people around you and also the space that you are going to spend time in.
Mm, mm, mm. I think we sometimes underestimate this, right? Like,
Yeah.
but in all honesty, actually, your environment can either be what gently pushes you forward or can constantly drag you backwards. We think that we cannot change an environment, which is to some extent true, but we can make adjustments to it. So think about this, right? For example, again, coming back to health and wellness and fitness, if your kitchen is constantly stocked with cookies and soda, is which ours is sometimes, it's going to be harder to stick to healthy eating, right?
Yeah, yeah. My daughter just left yesterday, go back to the UK, and like we had all these sweets left over, and I've got to throw some of them out, otherwise I'll have to just start eating them, which is not good for me. If anything that's in the house that's bad, I'll eat it. So if it's not in the fridge, then I won't eat it. But I think on the flip side, if you keep your, for example, your running shoes by the door or your journal on your nightstand, it becomes much more easier to be able to follow through on that daily walk or that nighttime reflection where you start jotting things down in your journal because it's right by your bed. So small tweaks can make like a really huge difference in how you live out your goals on a day-to-day basis, I think, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I think it's these little tricks, right? I mean, yeah, it feels a little bit like, is it really going to help? It does, right? But there's also another thing that sometimes we shouldn't forget is the people factor. People can really empower you, or they can actually block you from progress. So if you're
Yeah.
constantly around folks who criticize every idea or they downplay your ambition, then it's going to be quite an uphill battle for you, especially if there are people that you can't avoid completely, right? Like family members or co-workers, you have to be around them. But even though physically you have to be around them, you can create certain boundaries for yourself. So maybe, it may not be the best, um, may not sound very nice, but perhaps you should actually share fewer details about your goals with people who tend to be more negative, and instead find a supportive friend or a mentor who you know you can rely on as a positive and constructive sounding board instead.
Mm-mm. And I think that can, and there's so many different ways you can do that, right? I think, you can join, I don't know, local clubs or attend a workshop or an event or even hop onto an online forum where people are kind of sharing similar goals. Anything that helps you find a network of people who genuinely get what you're aiming for. And I think once you get that, the morale boost is like immediate and you know that you're not doing it on your own and that kind of really starts to help you and just drive you forward.
Yeah, yeah. I always hear people probably thinking that, hey, but I don't have anyone who really understands me and anyone who can really support my goal.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but actually, there are a lot of communities out there for almost every single interest. You just have to find it, right? Maybe if you want a more virtual global community, there are definitely lots of Facebook groups um around like all kinds of topics, maybe there are, if you want to be able to run more, find your neighborhood jogging club or your running club. I've heard of people who have joined virtual study groups, to motivate themselves through difficult exam periods. There are many, many platforms and ways that you can find people who can cheer you on, and in return, that you help them as well. So it might take a little bit of searching, but it's definitely worth it.
No, definitely, definitely. And one of the things I do a lot with my clients is, maybe they want to improve with their management skills or improve with just being a better leader. or, wanting to become that next leader. Well, one of the things I always talk to them about is focus on actually your physical space around you too. So, and it can be just really simple changes like organizing your workspace, which you're going to kind of start to work in, like adding a vision board or having really clear visions like written on post-it notes can really start to inspire you to show up differently. And it starts to send your brain a signal that says, okay, we're making room for something new and better here. And you could get a brand new coffee cup that you're going to kind of use as well, or a new keyboard or something just for your area to make sure that it's a new place to go to and something an area that inspires you. And that's kind
Mm.
of got to be, and that's really crucial, I think, to
Mm.
having that physical space to help you and support you.
Yeah, I mean, it just sets you up for success, right? And
Yeah,
I think what you were saying is that it's about making it easier for you to, get into that space
yeah,
where, you want to do the
yeah,
right thing, and
definitely.
it's harder for you to do the wrong thing. So, if let's say if you want to read more, then create a cozy reading spot. If you want to practice your guitar regularly, keep it visible and not in the closet, because then, when we don't see it, we forget about it, right? So is this little small actions and even little small cues that make your goals feel more integrated and natural as part of your life, instead of something that you're constantly battling with, that feels like an uphill struggle all the time?
So as you plan for that next week or month, think about how you can tweak your surroundings or connect with people who really light a fire under you. That support system, both physical and social, can really make all the difference in sustaining your momentum and actually helping you to really enjoy that journey a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, having a supportive environment is it's not a luxury. It's a very real and practical way that is actually often necessary to help you stay on track and keep you growing and moving forward. And trust me, once you experience the difference that it makes, you'll never go back to trying to brave your goals alone in an unsupportive setting again. Right. So we talked about that. But now I think let's go into something a little bit more fun, in my opinion, which is the fifth and final strategy. And that is practicing visualization and manifestation.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
ooh, I know it sounds a little bit woo, right? Okay, but hear me out, right? This technique is a lot more powerful and a lot more real than you might think.
Yeah, okay. I'll admit I was a total skeptic at first on this. All this woo-woo stuff was really not within even in my mind space. But when you mentioned visualization, I used to kind of like roll my eyes. Okay, I figured it was just daydreaming in a fancy package, really. But once I actually tried it, I was actually really shocked at how much it changed my mindset. And I went from this is complete and utter nonsense to Jesus, this is insane. This is pretty quick how it changed my thought process and my mindset actually.
Yeah, I mean, and Simon, I mean, you are definitely someone who's more facts and figures, a lot more logic
Yeah.
centric, right?
Yeah.
But
And I have a monkey mind that just goes all over the place. So this kind of calmed that down as well.
yeah, but I think sometimes I think this whole topic of visualization and manifestation, maybe people don't explain it enough that if you kind of reframe it differently, it's not magic. It's really just mental rehearsal for success. And actually all the athletes that you watch, like in the Olympics and all that, they all do it. They picture themselves really nailing that perfect swing or crossing the finishing line first. What they're trying to do is they try to prime their brain to really experience what it's like to go through and complete that race confidently.
Yeah, you see that all the time. Like people like physically having their eyes shut. Like Formula One drivers, you see do it before the race. They're kind of like driving with their eyes shut around the circuit, which is like visualizing it. But I think one of the things I'm noticing, right, is it's not just for sports, right? I think we got to be thinking about the corporate world as well a lot more now with this, because like not everyone of us are lucky enough to be like Formula One drivers, just for example, or any sports that are out there. But maybe you're gunning for like a new role or a promotion. Um, but if you start visualizing yourself excelling in like key meetings or presenting ideas with confidence and actually seeing your name on the new office door, you know, guess what? You'll feel more prepared and motivated to do the things that get you there, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the thing is, once you start visualizing it and you can start to visualize what that would look like for you, what is that ideal future goal looks like for you, this is where manifesting comes in, which is actually really just about if I simplify it down, about really believing that you have what it takes to achieve the goal and actually taking the real steps to making it happen. So, for example, you said like your vision is to land the promotion, right? You that will create this inspiration, this desire that to realize that hey, I actually need to have more regular chats with my manager, and you go ahead and schedule that. Or there's an opportunity for a really high profile project that comes up, and you take that chance to actually take it on, to show that you can demonstrate your skills. Perhaps you would actually take up more leadership courses to brush up on certain areas. So it's actually just having that belief that drives the action that is necessary for you to achieve that goal that you've been visualizing.
Yeah. And that's I think that's the real difference, right? It's not just wishing for a promotion, it's visualizing the end results, like seeing yourself in that new position. And really, how do you then follow through to get to that? So, you'll network more, you'll refine your presentations, maybe even dress the part a little bit more, look a bit more smarter. Your daily choices start to align with that vision that you have for yourself.
I mean, I have this recently, one of my clients, she wanted to transition from a mid-level role to a more senior director position. She felt stuck. Because she's always been operating in that mid-level role, right? She's been very operative. It was only when I encouraged her to start envisioning herself as that director, as that confident leader, someone who is confidently running the meetings, mentoring her teams, making really strategic decisions.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, there are some skills involved in that, yes, but you can learn that. But when you have that mental shift, that's when she finally, hey, took that, it kind of shifted her into a more like high gear mode where she's seeking mentorship. She's volunteering for stretch assignments. She's picking up in important meetings. And true enough, those the belief led to these actions. People noticed those actions, and within the year, she actually got the promotion that she wanted. And she didn't think that it was possible if she didn't have those mental shifts.
Yeah. That's like such a perfect example, right? It's not magic, it's focus. So when you consistently visualize and believe in your goal, your brain kind of goes, all right, let's find a way. You kind of stay flexible and motivated rather than throwing in the towel at like the first, I guess, sign of trouble or the first kind of barrier that you kind of come across.
So, and that's exactly what you need in order to make, if this is your goal, right, to make 2025 a breakthrough year for yourself. This really unshakable sense that what you want is actually possible. When you pair it with daily value aligned action, and you'll be amazed at how quickly progress can happen when those things are moving in the same direction.
Yeah. I don't think I could have said that better myself, actually. And if I learned anything from going through from being a real skeptic to a believer, is this. It was like visualizing and manifest can't even say it, manifesting
Manifesting.
won't magically kind of drop successes in your lap, I think, but it'll make you kind of unstoppable in your pursuit for it. And I think that's the kind of the key. It's just kind of changing that mindset.
Yeah, definitely, Simon. So I think we've covered all five strategies, right? Should we kind of
Yeah, yeah,
wrap it all
yeah.
up now?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so let's bring it all together, right? So we've covered these five strategies of aligning goals with values, letting go of the baggage, celebrating the small wins, crafting a supportive environment, and practicing the visualization and manifesting. Jesus, I can't
Mm.
say that word today.
Manifesting. And again, to recap this, what we talked about, if you're wondering, why it works so well, it's because it's very simple. When we align goals with values, it keeps you genuinely motivated. Instead of forcing you, you feel drawn to your goals because they reflect who you really are and what you actually want. When we
Mm.
let go of baggage, that frees up the mental and emotional space so you can move forward without all that heavy weight or burden that could have been holding you back all this while. Going back to celebrating small wins, I mean, we know this, right? When we celebrate these small wins, it keeps us positive. It keeps the momentum for like flowing smoothly. So instead of constantly waiting for one huge victory, which can feel really draining and demoralizing, you feel encouraged on a daily and weekly basis. That is what creates the momentum to move forward. And when we craft that supportive environment, it makes things easier, more enjoyable. And when you surround yourself with the right people and the right physical spaces, then you will feel more empowered when you go through your journey and as you start to see progress incrementally get faster and bigger. And last part about visualization and manifestation, it does is it helps you see and believe in a better future for yourself. And this is what fuels the consistency and resilience because you've already seen and you felt it and now you want it. So that's why you go after the success that you want.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I love that. And I think the key thing what I learned from all of this is when we actually as a couple like combined all of these together, it was for us, it was like a switch flipped. Our consistency kind of skyrocketed and we actually started hitting goals that had eluded us for years. So I'll come back to the fitness one, but that's just one of them. But it if we finally found that we had fitness routine in our lives that we both kind of loved, right?
And be consistent with
Yeah.
and I think this is something we always come back to fitness because everybody can relate to this. But trust me, we are really regular people who like to binge watch Netflix in the evening. We love pizza and a good KFC. We still have
Yeah.
busy schedules, but these strategies, for the most part, right, it keeps us on a path. And it makes us feel good that we can stay disciplined with it.
And a cheeky little glass of red wine now and again as well. It's always good. So, as you kick off 2025, think of which of these five strategies might be your game changer. Maybe start with one that really resonates most with you, like letting go of a big source of stress or finally acknowledging that your goal to run a marathon might actually be a goal to get fit in a fun way.
Yeah, I mean, remember, right? Success isn't about massive leaps overnight. It's really about small, meaningful steps that add up. So celebrate every tiny win. If it's a fitness goal, start with a 5 minute walk. If it's writing a book, focus on getting a single paragraph written first, or something, or whatever your goal is. But the key thing is start small and keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Just keep going, right? And keep visualizing that future where you're proud of how 2025 went because you will be, okay? You've got everything you need to make it happen right inside of you.
Mm-mm. And we're cheering you on every step of the way. And hey, if you have any questions or want to share your own stories, just feel free to reach out. We love connecting with our community, and sometimes a little pep talk, like from us or from you to us, can be exactly what somebody needs.
So true, so true. All right. So that's it for today's deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we hope you found something valuable in these five strategies for success in 2025.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear how you apply them. So until next time, take care of yourselves, stay aligned with your values, and remember, small steps really do lead to big changes.
Yes, and we'll see you next time for another inspiring conversation. And in the meantime, go chase those goals, but do it in a way that's truly and totally you. So, bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone, and good luck with your goals in 2025.